All right. Um, Pleasant morning to everyone. Welcome to our first official marathon for 2026. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Good
All
morning,
right.
sir.
Lovely, lovely. I see not quite a few names in here, so just to make sure so we know who is here. There are some names that I'm familiar with. I know Zahenia, I know Tiola, I know Miss Hyman. I'm familiar with Sujani, Sasa, Miss Gentles, Empress, I know Joshua, Jaden, um, Jadia. Who is that name? Jadia?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. That name?
Yeah, we were just texting. I attend evening class.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. And Gabriel Reed, I think I saw that. Oh, yeah. Gabriel. Oh, Jadia. I know you know. Jadia Reed. Sorry.
Gabriel.
Yeah. And Gabriel Wellen Reed, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Good to go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I trust that you're going to enjoy it. I know I'm going to enjoy it. For those of you guys know me, you know that online is my favorite place to teach. I get a chance to flex a little bit. This is my favorite place to teach. So trust and believe you will enjoy it today. And just stay focused. Please be as interactive as you possibly can. Feel free to ask questions. It's a space that's open for everybody. No one here can tell you not to ask a question or verify, right? And sometimes you ask a question and there's somebody in the class that wants to ask the question, but everybody's some persons are extroverted, some persons are introverted. So a person may have or wants to ask a question, but they're not the type of person that is going to be very vocal. So when you ask a question or you're seeking clarity on something, you could be helping somebody else. So this space is open for you to ask, verify, get clarity on anything. All right. So as you would have known from the advertisement, that these sessions are scheduled to be 6 hours long. Yesterday, I was able to complete the paper yesterday in less than 6 hours. Right. We had to skip out a question because that topic has not been taught at all. So showing you how to do that question it wouldn't be teaching, it would be just showing you, and I don't want the sessions to be like that. So I want to do all the questions that are based on what I have taught you thus far, which is maybe 9 or 8 out of the 10 questions that is scheduled to be on the exam. So we're scheduled to be doing 6 hours today. The plan is to run from 9 until 12. We will take a break and we will return back to the platform at 1 to wrap up whatever questions is left on the paper, right? But before we actually get into any of that, actually, there are a few things that I usually do before my marathons. And, you know, just rushing into the paper and showing you how to work out questions, that's not really how I go about my business, right? My business is based on educating my students, ensuring that they understand the plan, not just for the class, but the plan for the paper, right? A lot of students I know over the years have always gone into a math exam and they have absolutely no idea what the exam entails, how much questions. Like if I'm to run a survey right now, and say, guys, put it in the chat, and I ask questions like, how many questions are on the exam paper? Some people have an idea. Some will say, sir, I think it's 9, 11. Nobody's so simple details like that. You need to know as a student. You have to know the environment that you're going into, what to expect, how much questions are there. These little things I'm going to talk to you about now. So I'm going to pull up give me a second. Let me pull up a whiteboard and set up some stuff for you. All right, so right. All right, so we're gonna talk about some exam strategies. Right? We're gonna use the first 10 or 15 minutes to kind of just get everybody comfortable, knowing what we're looking at. All right, so what I want to first talk to you about is um, a strategy that I have been using for years, and the students who usually follows this strategy usually get the success that they desire, right? Not saying that if you have your own strategy, it not go work, but I stick with one strategy, and this strategy works for a lot of persons. So I've been told, they could be lying to me, but the results that I get year after year can't be lie. It can't be a lie. So we're going to talk about a strategy, right? And going to this exam with this strategy will require you to have a thorough understanding of the paper, right? Thorough understanding of the paper. So first thing that we want to look at here is time management, right? Time management is key. I'm sure that most of you have heard or you would have experienced persons talking about them run out of time, all right? And time management is something that you have to have a plan for it. It can't be just going at the exam and work as fast as I can. It doesn't work that way because there are going to be questions on the paper that will take more time than what you think. Remember, there are some topics on the exams that are not your favorite, and so you have to spend more time on questions that are your favorite and will gain you more marks, and then take whatever you can get. Now let's talk about this. The exam is scheduled to be 2 hours and 40 minutes long. When I was doing exam, my instructor at the time told me that I should take the first 10 minutes to kind of run through the paper, right? When you're going at this exam, you have to be very calm, guys, right? If you're too anxious or too nervous, you're going to go against the original plan. Whatever plan you and I set out, I expect you guys to go into the exam to execute this plan, not some bandula plan where you come up with right before you go on the exam. This plan that we're going to talk about today is the plan that we're going to re-emphasize for the next 7 classes. All right, for the next 7 classes, we're going to exercise this plan. All right. And so the exam is scheduled to be 2 hours and 40 minutes. My recommendation to you, ladies and gentlemen, is that you take the first 10 minutes to kind of get yourself mentally prepared for what you're about to do. So the first 10 minutes is to just kind of scan through the paper, looking at question one, just kind of just giving a quick little overview, right? Overview. So you look at question one, you look at question two, question three, all of that. As we go through the marathons, you're gonna learn so much stuff. You're gonna learn more in the marathon than what you've learned in the past 6 months or 7 months because of the strategies I'm gonna show you. So the first 10 minutes is recommended that you use the first 10 minutes to go through just scan through the paper, kind of give an overview, seeing what questions look challenging, kind of say, all right, you see that question here, this question look like it gonna take up some time, so I'm gonna do this question last. And remember, it's not a booklet that you're writing in, you're writing in the actual exam booklet. So you don't have a separate booklet where you have to do the questions in order. If you decide that you want to take on question 6 first, that's your choice. Then you want the question 10, then question 7, then question 3. You want to attack the questions first that will give you not just the most marks, but the questions that you can maximize on. So there are going to be questions on the paper, right? Where rest assured, them questions, me know, you know, and God know that you can do them. But there's going to be some questions on the paper that will require a bit more critical thinking. Those questions are what we call scrap questions. You just take what you can get from them and go on with your business. But the questions, that you're going to eventually convince yourself of what you like and what you don't like. I can't tell you what to like. There's going to be a student here that likes functions and relations, and there's going to be a student here that likes trig. So you have to know what you like. And what you don't like, you put that aside. Now, get into the strategy. So the first 10 minutes, my recommendation is to use it to do a quick little run through of the paper. Right? Now, that will leave us with a total of what? 2 hours and what? 30 minutes. Then you're going to begin to attack the paper strategically. Now, if we break down this 2 hours and 30 minutes, we're going to get approximately what? 150 minutes. And with this 150 minutes, because there are 10 questions on the paper that you're scheduled to attempt, and let me say, I have to do all of them, 10 questions on the paper. If I divide this by 10, this will then tell me mathematically that I shouldn't be taking more than 50 minutes per question. Because what happens is that if you're taking more than 15 minutes to do one question, chances are you're taking away time from other questions that require more time. So if you find yourself stuck on question 1 for 30 minutes, you've already taken away the time that you should have put on question 2 trying to get question 1, when there's parts of question 2 that you could have used to get 6 marks. You're over there, bust your brain, I try to figure out how to do the question. Remember, in the exam, you're not in an exam to try to prove to me or to the world that you know for the maths. You're in that exam to try to get as much questions as you possibly can get right and get as much marks as you can possibly get. So that's 15 minutes per question. You can take more than 15 minutes, but bear in mind, you will hear at some point you have 45 minutes remaining. And then when you look, you only do a question 6 and all. No, you're not start the question 7, 8, 9, or 10 and then panic chip in and your mind starts saying, I'm going to do maths next year again. We don't want that. We don't want that. So, like I told the face-to-face students yesterday, 15 minutes. I told them 16 because I didn't tell them about the 10 minutes overview. But, it's more or less the same, right? Some will do it, some won't. Some person will get so nervous that them go against the plan that we are setting. All right. So, highly recommended, guys. Take 15 minutes to do per question. Wherever the 15 minutes stop, you need to move on to the next question. Now, CSET marks under a dimension. They mark under, I think for English is comprehension. So for math, I think it's understanding, computation, and reasoning. And these are the dimensions to which you get marks for. So the understanding part of it talks about, does this student know what the topic is about? Does this student understand that f of x is a functions relations question? Does this student recognize that when you see a triangle, it's trigonometry? Does this student realize that when they see a circle, they know the angles it related to? Does this student, when they see a graph, they know it could either be transformation? Does this student understand or have an understanding? Based on what you put on the paper, that will give the examiner a good idea that this student has a A-level knowledge, a B-level knowledge, or a C-level. Oh, incorrect, guys. My apologies. It's not understanding, it's knowledge. Correct. So for the students that were here yesterday, face-to-face, it's not understanding, it's knowledge. So these are the 3 dimensions. So does this student have knowledge? Do they have a A-level knowledge to the topic, a B-level knowledge, a C-level knowledge? In order for you to get a good grade under the dimension of knowledge, you have to be able to attempt all questions. If you leave a question blank, the examiner is already saying that this student have no idea what this topic is about. You can't allow the examiner to be marking your paper and pick up on that. You have to make sure, say, no matter what you do, try write something. Do something, anything, just do something. No matter the foolishness doing, because that is just equally the same as saying that I have no knowledge. So you have to be able to dibble and dabble into every little topic. Computation has to do with your calculation, obviously. So a lot of the time, students believe that whenever them do a question, if them get the answer wrong, the whole thing wrong. That is not how it works. That's why them say ignorance is bliss. You don't know, you just make assumptions. Computation has to do with your ability to show steps during your working out. So if you're working out the problem and you make a sign mistake or you put a wrong number, the examiner sees that this student knows what he or she is doing. But the student may have made a miscalculation. That means even though the answer wrong, you're still demonstrating that your knowledge and your calculating ability is A level or B level or C level. And so your reasoning now has to do with the application of the formulas. So this particular question requires a particular formula. This student doesn't quite remember how to work out the question, but they recognize that this particular question may require the cosine rule or the sine rule. That's why I tell students, when you see a question, if I even write down the formula upon the paper, it sends a message to the examiner that you know that this formula is required for this question. And you put some little numbers in it, and if you get nervous or whatever, at least you did something. But leaving it blank, that's sending a message to me that this student has either never been taught the topic or the student simply has no knowledge of the topic. Right? So we want to make sure that we have and understand the dimensions under which CSEC marks you under. All right? Now, as I told the other students yesterday as well, when it comes to the exam is marked out of a total of 180 points. All right? Sir, so much? Let's break it down to show you where these 180 points come from. You guys are doing 3 papers. Well, 2. You think a 2, you do with a 3. Because the SBA is a paper. It is just what is called a coursework paper. So you're pretty much doing a research and you're using mathematics to apply to a research paper, right? You get a research topic and you do some research on it and you demonstrate your mathematical skills in the SBA, right? This SBA is worth 20 points. Careful now. People often misunderstand 20 points and run around and tell the other person about his 20%. Right? It's 20 points. Right? Paper 2 is worth 100 points. And paper 1, which is the multiple choice, is worth 60 points. So if you can do the math there, you'll see that 20 and 100 is 120 plus 60 is 180. You know, understand where the 180 comes from. Now, most of you guys who submit an SBA, I would have told you that, hey, and yeah, for those persons who didn't do an SBA, for example, I think Sasadine, I think you are doing paper 3. Yeah, I think you're doing paper 3. So I'll need to send mommy some links and some videos on how paper 3 is just basically 2 questions. But I can't, the mass of students that is in this class right now, they are doing an SBA. So the information about paper 3 is not something I want to disclose in this particular class. So if you're doing paper 3, something that I have to talk to you outside of the class for. So for the SBAs, my objective is always to send up a student for 16 points, 16 out of 20 minimum. Now, if you get a SBA grade that is less than 16, I will reach out to you and I will say to you, hey, your grade is at 12 or 13 or 10. These are the things that has allowed you to not get the 16. Do you wish to correct it? Some students will say, sir, me can't bother. Cool. Send up your grade same way. If you wish to meet the corrections and fix it up and get the extra marks, no problem. Right? So my minimum here that I'm giving students, right, that I expect everybody to get is at least 16 points out of 20. Now, fun fact, and I thought yesterday I felt like a few students were probably a little bit shocked at what I'm about to say. What I said yesterday and what I'm about to say now, right? It's a strategy. Remember, guys, our objective is to pass the exam. You getting a grade 1, right? Tiola getting a grade 1, Sujani getting a grade 2, and Miss Gentles getting a grade 3. Don't make a difference. It's 3 on the pass. right? It don't prove said this person is brighter than that person. It may just simply be on the day that particular question that came up. Tiola brain just a work that day there, so Johnny brain a work that day there, and then just work the question, but that doesn't mean that they are brighter than Miss Gentles. At the end of the day, you're getting a 1 or a 2 or a 3. I can't say that this person got 90, this person got 70, this person got 50. We don't know. So we're not in the business of trying to prove to anybody that we can get one grade 1. If I get a grade 3 and it allows you to matriculate into other areas of your life, it will make a difference, because most persons are not really going into the field of mathematics, but they just need it to get on to the next level. So here's where my strategy is, right? And it's a to me, I think it's a safe strategy in terms of going into the exam with the intention of trying to get every question right is madness. Because you're not going to get everything right. There's just going to be a question there on the paper that's going to require thinking time, and you may not have enough time to get all of it right. So here's what you want to do. You want to put yourself in a position where you can get a maximum of 60 points. I told the class yesterday 50. So I'm pushing the limit now. I'm saying 60 points, which means that you're leaving yourself with a 40-point deficit. And this 40-point deficit right here basically is telling yourself mentally that it is okay to get a few questions wrong, right? It is okay. If you see a question where you can do and it worked 2 points and you don't know if you do it, don't panic. That can make you fail. That cannot make you fail. All you need is a cumulative amount of points that adds up to 60. So if on question 1, if it's worth 9 points, you can get 6, take the 6 and go on about your business. Go to question 2, it worth another 9, and you can get 5, take the 5 and go on about your business. Question 3, all right, a question nice, we can get 8 out of it. So you take the 8, leave the 1, go on. Question 4, oh, easy question 1, we get all 9 points. Good, lovely. Question 5, no sir. Question hard. 9 points it worth, you can only get 2, take the 2 and go on. Point is that I'm trying to say, when you dibble, you're dabbling to all 10 questions, your objective is to garner a minimum of 60. Anything over that, you're deep into the conversation of getting a grade 2 or a grade 1. But you want to put one foot through the door to get a grade 3, and then whatever else that comes after that, thank you, Lord. I am grateful. So 60 points. So therefore, I'm telling you, students, that give yourself a 40 point. Give yourself a 40 points where you can take 40 points and give it away. 40 points. Go into the exam with that. So after the exam, you can say, all right, sir, boy, I see about 6 questions, or I see about some whole parts question I couldn't do in about. Sir, I think them value more than 40. That means if you get the rest of them right, it is anywhere within that 60. All right. And then paper 1, me know, you know, and the whole world know that the questions are repeated. Right. I'm not sure how many of you guys will request. And usually I'm not really a big fan of multiple choice, like teaching it. But if I've never had to teach it yearly, because people always just go find the resources themselves. But if you guys request it, I can come online maybe during the course of the 12 and the 28. Maybe do like a 1 or 2 session, nothing too crazy. And I'll do like a couple run through with you, a couple of multiple choice, run through with you. But you can get these online. They're everywhere, and the questions repeat. So for me, I think that if a student can get at least 40 out of the 60, to me I tell us if you do, it's like me purposely I tell you say, if you get a question wrong by accident, don't have a heart attack. It's okay. It's too many times me hear students come out and tell me, say, sir, I could have done a question. I feel like I go fail. You not go fail, and so fail you go. You cannot get 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 questions wrong and you fail. That's not how it works, ladies and gentlemen. Right? So you want to get a total of what? 40 out of 60. So I'm basically telling you that it is okay to give away 60 points. In fact, me I tell you it's okay to give away 64 points. You're giving away what? 20 here. You're giving away what? 40 here. So that's what? 60. And you're giving away 4 points here. That's 64 points you're giving away. That means that if any way or any shape or form you can dibble and dabble into those 64 points, you are in the conversation. We can say yes, we feel comfortable. All right. So now to wrap up this little preview here that I normally do, take about 20 minutes or so. Let's add these up. Let's say we get 16. Let's say everybody here gets 16 for the month for the SBA. Right? That means if you get over 16, you're good. Let's say out of the 60 was your target, but you end up getting, let's say we get the 60. Let's just say we get the 60. Right? And let's say over here that we got 40. Chances are most of them will get more than 40. The questions are very easy and they're very repetitive. So if you are one of those type of person that love to swat questions, you have a very good chance of getting 55. So that means you're putting yourself more. If you even get 60 or 60, you just put yourself in a really good position. So if we add these up, ladies and gentlemen, you see that we have 116 points out of 180. Now, if you do the mathematics on that, Ms. Gentles, run the calculation for me, please. If you do the mathematics on that, you'll then easily recognize here that you're getting a percentage of how much?
64.
64%. Now, question, does anybody know what a grade 3 pass rate is? I'm assuming that you don't. You probably have an idea. We know it's less than 50%. So we're going to just say, if we get over 50% or get half the people right, them can't fail if we get half the people right. Come on, think about it. Does that make logical sense? You give a person an exam and him half the people right, you fail them? That's crazy. Don't people say crazy? The standards for CXC is at a certain level. It's not extremely high, but it's not low either. I can't say for certain. I can't put a block on my head and say, yes, this is what it is. But I'm going to assume that if a student at this level gets half the paper right, that means it's safe to say that the student have half the knowledge required. So them can pass. Make them go through. So we're going to set it at 60%, 50% for our grade 3. Right? Again, because the class is being recorded, this is not factual information. This is presumed information. Right? So it could be less than 50 that gives you a pass. I don't think it's more than 50, but we're going to say 50. So we are going to work with that premise, right? So that means if you get 50 to 60%, we can say we pass. Not true. So that means what happens if you get over 60%? We're talking about a grade what? A grade 2. And do you see how easy it is for you to get a grade 2 willingly telling yourself that it's okay to get the questions wrong? I hope you guys are seeing what I'm trying to show you here. You getting a bunch of questions wrong doesn't mean nothing. It just means that maybe on that day, in that time, in that moment, your brain never been at work and your brain not you not get the question right. But that doesn't mean that you don't have any knowledge of the topic. All right? So all of this information here is things that I discuss with my students during this time, where you guys can have a very good idea of how we approach an exam paper. Passing math is difficult either. Will not have any strategy going to the exam. Bust them brain. I try to get the whole question wrong. Spend 35 minutes at a 2 question, 3 question, when you're not showing the examiner that you have a comprehensive knowledge of what you have been taught in 1 year or 2 year or 3 year. All right. So hopefully this is beneficial and this is a little bit more comforting to some of you, because some of you guys may not have heard this before, right? But now you're seeing it for yourself. This is something that I've used when I was doing math. This is what I did, and it has worked for many of my students over the past 13 years. Thousands of people make pass maths. Thousands. Me lose count. Me can't remember them. So you can use this strategy, or you can just derive one on your own that works best for you. This doesn't suit everybody, but I feel like it's something universal that you can consider putting into your approach towards the exam. All right? All right. And as I go along, I will show you a whole lot more when them pop up. Okay? All right. So that is our little half an hour of chit chat, right? We're going to get into the actual paper right now. Okay.
Thanks for that, sir.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, man. You're welcome. All right. And I hope it benefits everybody else as well. Just keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Just move forward with that plan, right? Once you have a plan and you stick to the plan, you have to get paid. Not asking you, I'm telling you have to get paid. Okay? All right, lovely. So let's go to the paper now, right? And this is also another thing that a lot of my students don't do. They don't read, right? It's not your fault. It's not nobody's fault, right? You see them this is the exam paper you're looking at, right? This is 2023 that we're working, as you can see here. Let me see if we can grab. Hold on. So this is the exam paper that we're looking at, guys. And so when you open up your booklet, this is what you're going to see. Some of you may have done CXC before, so this page is not unfamiliar to you. But there are some persons here who have never done it before, or them do it and told them nervous enough to read a part here, right? So you can see right away that you're told that the exam is what? 2 hours and what? 40 minutes long. This is called a general proficiency paper. And here are some instructions that is important. Students don't read this. I don't know why. In fact, the invigilator, I'm a CXC supervisor, right? And I have to hire persons to work with me yearly. So as soon as I finish teaching, I have to go and work with CXC. And we are explicitly told that as a supervisor, you should read instructions to the students because them know that you guys are not going to read it. I'm so nervous, I'm not have meds. So they're supposed to arrive at the exam before 9 o'clock, and we're supposed to read this to you. So I'm going to read it to you now. So in case they don't read it to you, don't worry, I did it for you already. This paper consists of 2 sections, section 1 and section 2. Section 1 has 7 questions, and section 2 has 3 questions. You are to answer all questions, meaning that the matter say you're supposed to attempt to answer all questions. You are to also write your answers in the spaces that are provided in the booklet, and you're not to write over the margin. Do not write in the margins. You must write within the margin, not outside of the margin. Wherever working is required to be shown, please show it carefully. That means you should not just take your calculator, type in the answers on the calculator and write it down. You're not going to get any marks for that. All right. A list of formulas are provided on page 4 of this booklet. To me, I think these formulas are irrelevant. There are a lot of formulas that I think, and this is just my opinion, persons might hear this recording in the future, but it's just my opinion. I just feel like some of the formulas there, they are not really helpful. Because at the end of the day, you can put a formula on the paper and the student don't know what or where this formula is supposed to be used, and then the formula becomes relevant. So there are formulas on the paper, but to me, for the past, since 2009 and before, it has always been the same formula. CXC has not changed it any at all. Them add nothing new. In fact, I think them take off something off of it. So I wouldn't even make that face me. They might tell me about formulas upon paper. Those formulas are useless. Right? I'm putting it out there. Them formulas are useless. Because if my students don't know what the formulas are used for, what's the point of giving me them? So all students need to know what and where these formulas are used. Okay. Again, this don't really happen very often. But if you need to rewrite any answers, and there's enough space at the back, so at the back of the booklet there's extra pages that you can write on. Right? You must use the extra pages provided at the back of the booklet. Remember to draw a line through your original answer. If you write I know someone will try this. You will write or, like you work it out this way, and then say, or work it out that way, the examiner will mark the first one. They're not going to mark both of them, and they don't have time to select. What them not know you, remember, see, you're only a 10-digit number, and they don't know you, they have no idea who you are. They not no picture of you. So you're 10036924118. That's who you are to them. You're just a number from some Caribbean country, right? So they're not gonna favor you. So when you're marking your paper, you draw a line through the answer that you think is not correct. Nobody color it. Nobody take no red ink and color it and get mad and say me no know, and maths not. Some students do that. Maths is not for me, and some silly stuff that people do on the exam. Man, if you don't know to work the question, leave the question alone and move right along. So don't write maths is not for me and we hate maths and some silly things that people do. So don't do that. It just shows a level of immaturity, right? And then the next thing now is that all diagrams in the booklet are not drawn to scale. So do not go in there and take your ruler and measure nothing. They're not drawn to scale. So if we see something we say it's 110 kilometers. You know what 110 kilometers look like? 110 kilometers is from here to Kingston. We can't draw that on paper. That's 110 kilometers. So it's not drawn to scale. All right? And here's the funnel sheet that you're talking to you about. Right? This is something that I would have mentioned to you incrementally as I was teaching, that these are the formula sheets, right? They give you the volume of prism, right? Which is V equal AH. I think you guys are familiar with that as well. Volume of the cylinder, right? This is how I know the formula is useless. Why? Volume of prism, volume of cylinder, volume of right pyramid. Very rarely do they give you a right pyramid. And the volume of the cylinder, that's the same formula as the volume of a prism. It's just that they replace the A with pi r squared. So those three formulas, them, giving you the first one would have been okay. The other two, them, irrelevant. That's just my opinion again. Circumference of a circle, God know that, you know that, and even my little brother know that. Arc length, that I can appreciate. Area of circle, everybody know that. Area of sector, that I can appreciate. Trapezium, all right, that can go on. Quadratic equation, that is appreciated. Trigonometrical ratio, that is way more than appreciated. Areas of triangle, that is also appreciated as well. Sine and cosine rule, that's appreciated. But formulas like gradient of a line, length of a line, midpoint, those formulas, I think that them could help you out with that. It's a lot to process, So I think that they could help you with that. But again, that is just your request and my request and our opinion. They're not gonna listen to us. They're gonna give us what they feel that they want to give us. But that's why I'm here, guys, because we re-emphasize these formulas again and again. All right? All right, so good. Now, earlier when I said to you that you use the first 10 minutes to go through the paper, let's pretend. Let's do a role play now. Exam is at 9 o'clock. Everybody's seated. Everybody's comfortable. You have your pen out. You have your pencils out. You have your calculator. Everything is in order. You pray. Prayer is important to everything, whether you're a Christian or not. You pray, Father God, please help me remember all that Mr. Peter has taught me and help me to apply on this day. 10 minutes I'll start. Watch now, guys. You go boom. All right, that don't look too bad. Okay. You take a deep breath, you just scroll through. All right, so some wordy question there. Look at algebra there, so you just scroll through. All right, this one I look, that look rough. All right, you scroll down. All right, so okay, then that get interesting now. You just use the first 10 minutes, just to gather yourself. Nobody rush the thing. All right, and you see, look at functions there, so yeah. I say, all right, me can't do that. Me supposed can do look something there, so. Then you have this here, you scroll through, and now you're approaching the interesting part. Now you say, Father God, Lord have mercy, what that now? So right away, in the first 10 minutes, you done already prep yourself for what is to come. You don't see how I go on. Right, you scroll through. Okay, Mr. Pierre, teach me that. All right, so you start to tell yourself, you're so remember, say after me, don't really, it's after them that have marathons here, the amount of time you're gonna see the same thing. How you're feeling now is not how you're going to be feeling the week before the exam. You're going to feel a lot more confident because you're gonna see these things so many times, it's going to become annoying. So now worry about how you feel now. See, look at bearings there, right? And you go through and you come down here, so right here. And then you say, okay, then all right, cool. And you go back up now and you just say one more prayer now. And you say, all right, Father God, help me to deliver now. And then this is what we're going to do. We're going to get into the teaching now. Okay? Remember, you want to make sure say the more questions you feel like you get right, it is the more you're going to feel confident. Okay? The more you're going to feel confident. All right. So, hold on. I'm looking for my pencil. Where's my pencil? I know I had a toolbox here. I hope I had it yesterday, you know? Give me a second, guys. I had the tool yesterday. Give me a second, because usually there's supposed to be like a pen here. Context, insert, PDF. All right. In the meantime, while me I search for that. Right. So we're gonna start the questions, right? Now, last thing before we get into it, because I have 3 minutes left before I start. Yesterday I told the students to attack the paper from the back, right? And I kind of sense that it kind of spooked them a little bit. Now, it's recommended that you attack the paper from the back. That's just my strategy, right? Get rid of the hard questions then first, and then I want to exit the exam feeling confident. I don't want to do all of the easy questions, and then when I'm going at the back, I can't do them, and then when I leave the exam, I feel dejected, and I feel, I feel some type of way. So I don't want that to happen to anybody. So it's recommended that you approach a question from the back. But today I'm going to try something new. I'm going to attack it from the front, right? I'm going to attack it from the front because there are going to be some topics that you're going to see on the paper that I've not yet taught because we're still in teaching phase. We have another month left of teaching. So I haven't taught vectors to some of you. I haven't taught matrices to some of you. So some of those topics I won't be able to do. All right. But we're here. Just give me a minute, guys. Let me see if I can. I'm going to pause and let me see if I can locate where the pen on this document is, okay? But just give me a few minutes. I'll be right back. All right, guys. So, I think I paid for this yesterday now because I wanted to use this screen, this thing that you see here. I didn't want to have to copy it, but the pen was
So I
there.
think I see signature, but you don't click on signature at the top and try use that.
Signature. Where is it at the top? Signature. I don't see signature. I see editing.
I saw it one at the time when you were moving this.
Oh yeah, see
screen.
there's a signature, but I don't know. There was supposed to be like a pen here yesterday because I paid for this PDF document, you know. They're supposed to take it from my
See it
account.
there, sir. I see the take time and move. I see signature at the top up there.
Right, so yeah, but
It's
it,
not working.
yeah, and I hate, So I don't know, it's a page management. I'm supposed like I paid for it yesterday, so I'm not sure why. Oh gosh. And I don't want to have to switch screens every second. All right, let me see if I can extract the pages. And then I don't. All right, give me. Because I can simply just keep switching screens, you know what? I don't want to do that. It's not going to flow the way how I want it to. All right, guys. Give me. That's my thing is that I don't want to have to be switching screens. How am I gonna do this? No, Lord. Give me a second. How am I gonna do this? Because I purposely paid for this yesterday so that my life could be easier. My sincerest apologies, guys. I'm so sorry about this. I'll get the job done still in a but I'm trying to think what's the best move forward right now. All right. Guys, if you don't mind, you can stay online if you want to. But just give me a few minutes. Let me try to see if I can get the document transferred to
Okay, so no problem.
just give me a few minutes here. I'll be right back. You can stay online if you want to, but I'm gonna exit and try to sort it out. All right. All right, guys. I am back. Guys, are you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm back. So apparently there was just a particular button I needed to press to get it. So I'm back. All right, so this is good news. All right. So my apologies if I'm doing too much talking, but I feel like I have to set the stage for what is to come. All right, we won't have to do this again in next marathon or next classes. we're just going to get right into the work. So here we are. We're back. So I think it's that curly thing. Is this thing up here? So I needed to press, guys. Right beside the search icon. Right. So here we go. There's a pen. Everybody can see it? Can everybody see the pen?
Yes, sir.
All right, lovely. All right, let's get into it. So I'll get into the part that you guys really want to get to. So let's see here. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So let's start. Let's get comfortable and let's start. Lovely. Find the exact value of 5 over 6 plus 2 over 3 minus 12 over 35 times 7 over 9. Now, what we have here is a fraction problem that has two operations. What plays a role here is PEMDAS, right? Remember, PEMDAS doesn't just work for whole numbers. It works for everything, right? So right away, a lot of students will get caught. Like I've seen it where students just go ahead and find LCM. Can't do that, right? Remember, the rules for addition and subtraction is different for multiplication. So here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place this in a bracket right here. I'm going to work out that section. Now, when you're multiplying, right? When you're multiplying, we have to cancel terms. You don't find LCM when you're multiplying. So you look for numbers that you can cancel out. So I'm looking here and I can see that 3 can go into 9 3 times and 3 can go into 12 4 times, right? And then I can see here that 7 goes into itself 1 time and 7 into 35 goes 5 times. So what I'm then left with now is simply 5 over 6 plus 2 over 3 minus the result of what we got in the bracket, which is 4 times 1 is 4 over 5 times 3 is 15. All right? So when you're multiplying, please make notes if you're new to all of this, guys. When you're multiplying a fraction, you're going to use numbers to cancel out the terms, to make them smaller. Now, the rules for addition is the same thing as the rules for subtraction. So therefore, I can go ahead now and find the LCM all at once for this. Now, the LCM of 6, 3, and 15, if you find this challenging, I recommend that you multiply all three numbers. But sometimes when you multiply all three numbers, you end up with a multiply, you don't end up with the lowest. Now, looking at this here, you can clearly see that the LCM is 30. 30 is the lowest number that both 6, 3, and 15 can go into. So I can say, or I can ask, how much times can 30 be divided by 6, or how much times 6 can go into 30? That will tell me that's 5 times here. So 5 at the top. How much time can 3 go into 30? That's going to be 10 times. So put 10 times 10 at the top here. And how much time can 15 go into 30? Times 2 here at the top. Times 2 here. All right, let's go. 5 times 5 is 25. Plus 10 times 2 is 20. Minus 4 times 2 is 8. So when you work that out, 25 plus 20, that's 45. And 45 minus 8, that's going to give us 37 over 20. Now, if you leave your answer there, right, they're not
Over
going to give
30,
you.
sir, not 20.
Thank you. Over 30. So that's
Sir,
30. Yes, go ahead.
you can start back this from the top for me, please. I got distracted.
So 37 over 20. I'm coming there. Sorry, 37 over 30. Why is my eraser so big? Hold on. The smaller eraser, right? So 37 over 30. All right. Was that Empress? Was that Empress?
It was right.
Okay. All right. So here, all we're looking at, ladies and gentlemen, is when you're adding and subtracting a fraction, you find LCM. But when you're multiplying, you're going to cancel terms. So we had this thing over here. Where is it? We had this thing over here. Let me just erase it again. Right? First thing I did was that I placed the 12 and the 35 in a bracket. Okay, second along. All right. So focus, guys. So I place the 12 and the 35 in a bracket like that, and I look at the numbers that can go into each other. 9 cannot go exactly into 12, but there's a number that can go into 9 and 12. So I see 3 into 9 goes 3 times, and 3 into 12 goes 4 times. Right? And then I say 7 into itself 1 time, and 7 to 35, 5. Then I go ahead and I rewrite back my 5 over 6, as you can see here. I wrote back my 2 over 3, and I also wrote back the answer that I got after I did the cancellation. So I end up with 4 over 1, which is 4 times 1, which is 4, and then the 5 times the 3 at the bottom is 15. I went ahead to find the LCM. So the lowest number that 6, 3, and 15 can go into is 30. How many times can 6 go into 30? 5. So I put the 5 at the top. How many times can 3 go into 30? 10. I put the 10 at the top. And how many times can 15 go into 30? 2. I put the 2 at the top. Then I begin to multiply. 5 times 5 is 25. 2 times 10 is 20. And 2 times 4 is 8. So I go ahead then and I do my addition and subtraction. 25 plus 20 is 45. And 45 minus 8 is 37. That's 37 over 30. All right. Now, if you leave your answer here, they might take off a mark. So what you want to do is place it in a mixed fraction form. So 30 into 37 will go approximately 1 time. And then there's going to be a remainder of 7 over 30. All right. That's your final answer. 7 over 30. Okay. So that is how you get to that answer. And how much marks is that worth? Let's see here. 2 points. All right. Good. So we'll go on to the next question now. Calculate the value of, and this looks very complicated to some people, but it really isn't. If you have a calculator, this shouldn't be difficult, right? So calculate the value of, that symbol is a square root symbol. So you're going to take the square root of 1 minus cos 37 degree squared. So what you're going to do for me, guys, is you're going to go on your calculator, right? On your calculator, you should see a cos symbol. Just a second, let me pull up my calculator so you can see what I'm looking at. Give me a sec. Calculator. All right. So on your calculator, I'm not sure if you're using your phone, you shouldn't, but if you are, because you're going to buy one yet, you need to get one, right? So on your calculator, you should see this symbol here that says cos. Do you see the three of them sitting beside each other? Sine, cos, tan. Those three symbols there. That's what you're talking about. So you need to find the cos of 37 squared. How do we do that? Well, let's clear the screen. You can say cos 37 multiplied by, sorry, give me a sec. So cos 37, close the bracket, times cos 37. Because cos 37 squared means that you're going to multiply cos 37 by itself twice. So that's the answer, 0.6378. I like to use about 3 decimal places. That's just my personal preference. All right, so cos 37 squared. Or I think, I'm not sure if this calculator can do it. I think you can press cos, and then you can press square, which is the square button. This, you can press 37. Let me see here, 37, and I think you can square it. No, I think what you can do is open up a bracket, you can press cos, you can press 37, you can close the bracket and then square everything. See that? You press it, you get the same answer, 0.6378. So however you want it, it's just up to you. It's personal preference. All right. So 0.6. So this then works out nicely then to be, watch now, it's going to be the square root of 1 minus, and we can work out that a while ago, we get 0.6. What did you get a while ago? 0.6378. Did that make it?
Yes, sir.
0.6378. So 0.6378. So 0.6378. All right. I'm going to put the whole 78, right? Right here. Good. Now go ahead now and on your calculator, you're going to type 1 minus the something there. So just type on your calculator 1 minus the something where you see. 1 minus 0.6378. And then you're going to put the square root answer there. So you're going to have the square root of that thing. What did you get when you subtract that?
0.3622.
3622. All right. And then go on your calculator now and type the square root on your calculator. You should see that button. So there are certain buttons that you guys should be accustomed to seeing. Your square root button, how to square, right? In the meantime, while Mr. James is working that out,
0.6018.
let me go on the calculator to familiarize something. Give me. All right, so AC.
That's
So look now,
me
guys.
get my calculator next week. I come back carrying my damn phone.
Because Jet, your mic is unmuted, you know.
So it's 0.6018.
So 1 minus 0.6378. 0.3622. That's it. That's what I got. All right. Okay. So familiarize everybody with the buttons on the calculators, guys. You see this button right here that is highlighted, X2. That's the button you press to square a number. All right. That's the number you press to square a number. The X3 button, that's the button you use to raise a number to the power of 3. All right. But you see the button beside that, that allows you to raise a number to any power. So let's say, for example, then I wanted to raise a number to the power of 15. Let's say I wanted to raise 2 to the power of 15. I'd press that and press 15. See that? See that little 15 you catch up there, sir? So you raise a number to a power of 15, you get this big old number here, 32,768. So get used to the buttons that are on your calculator because it makes life a little bit easier. All right. So 0.3622, that's what we got. 0.3. Oh, sorry. What was the answer that we got? Oh, yeah. Sorry. What was the square root of this answer?
0.6018.
0.6018. All right. That's the answer, right? And that's it. That's how you get the 2 marks there. Right? So you have to show working, guys. I mean, you could have typed it all into your calculator at once and I get 0.6018, but that would not have demonstrated that. Because what they're looking for here, is does this student know how to use a calculator? That's what they're trying to find out, Does this student know what a square button is? Do they know how to square?
Oh, well, it says correct to 3 decimal place.
Oh, 3 decimal place. So this would be 0. So the answer then would
6.
be approximately equal to 0.602. That's what we want. All right, round it out because the 8 will change. The 8 will change. The 8 will change the 1 to 2. All right, because the 8 is bigger than 5. All right, so good. So that's 2 marks. Remember, every question I get right is going to be a confidence booster. So every question I get right, appreciate it. All right, moving right along to the next question. Now, they want you to write this number here in standard form. This is something I would have taught at the very beginning of September. This is something that, most teachers should go through, in the fundamental stage, the first 2 week or 3 week of school, teacher would have gone through this. The instructor would have gone through this. So 0.00527, and we're supposed to put this in standard form. Now, let's remind you guys, remember, this is not just working an exam paper. I'm using the exam paper to remind you of concepts that you were taught or you should have been taught. Okay, so we're not trying to rush it. Now, standard form, ladies and gentlemen, a number is in standard form when it is in the form a multiplied by 10 raised to the power of n. When a number is in standard form, when a number is in its standard form, it is in this format here that you're seeing on the screen, a times 10 to the power of n. So what exactly is a? A is actually a whole number, right? But a is a whole number that is actually greater than or equal to 1, but at the same time, it is less than 10. So whatever number you're going to put for a, that number has to be 1 or higher than 1, or less than 10. All right. So how can we get this number to be a number that is actually between 1 and 10? Watch, I'm going to zoom up for you here. Watch, I'm going to jump the point now. 1, 2, 3. I'll put the point right between this. When I put the point right between this, so what number do you think I now have? 5.27. Not true. So question, is that number greater than 1? Yes. Is it less than 10? Yes. So now I know that that number is in, it's a whole number. Now, standard form says it has to be times 10. So I'm going to guess what I'm going to do. I'm going to times it by 10. Times by 10. Now the question is, what is n? Let's go back up here. What is n? N is actually the amount of places that you jumped or the amount of places that you moved. So n represents the amount of places that you jump, right? But it also depends on the direction as well. So let me give you a little keynote here. So n represents the, write it down in words, guys, because I'm not going to write on the screen. Like, I'm not going to write like words on the screen. So n represents the amount of places you jump, right? Now watch now. If you jump to the right, like if you jump this direction, then n is going to be negative. All right, if you jump to the right, n is negative. Sir, how comes? The number line is negative, is positive to the right. Standard form is the opposite of number line. All right, so when you jump to the right, it is what? Negative. But you see, if you jump so, bop, 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 to the left, then n is a what? A positive number. Okay, it's a positive number. So therefore, if you go back down here, so now you realize that I took the point and I carried the point 3 places to my right. So this is going to be negative 3 right here. And that's the answer. So the answer for standard form there is 5.27 times 10 to the minus 3. Okay? And that gets you an extra mark. You're going 5 already. All right? So let's make note of that. Remember, guys, as I'm teaching you, use your pencil, use your pen, make some little jottings, make some notes here and there. You know, you should have a very colorful paper when you're done, right? All for markings and jottings and arrows pointing here. Remember this, remember that. Don't forget this, don't forget that. Okay? All right? And that is it right there. Any questions thus far? 5 points gone already. Any questions? All right, trust that there's no questions. Let's continue. Now, Harish works at a call center for 35 hours each week. He is paid an hourly rate of 11.20. You're to calculate the amount of money Harish receives in a 4-week month. Now, I want to highlight something to you that CXC does subtle. A lot of teachers don't point it out. But I think it's worth pointing out, right? A lot of teachers don't do this. Now, pay attention that when CSEC writes the question, all words are written in regular writing except for what? This thing right here. Why is it that the people then decide to want to put this here in one like bullet or italic, right? So why do they do that? Why are they doing that? Because they want to place emphasis on the fact that it's a 4-week month. Now, pay attention, guys. Let's look. When you're reading these questions, put yourself in the position. No matter rush it. Too many of you guys, when I hear, I understand I have problems with worded question, but you guys, it's not the problem with the worded question. I think you don't comprehend what it's saying, right? When you get a worded question, you have to put yourself in that position. Now, remove the word Harish and put your name. So whatever your name is, so I'm going to change Harish. Akeen works at a call center for 35 hours every week. Every single week, me work 35 hours. Not true, right? And for every hour when me work, me get this. So as the clock go round one time, me get $11. So I'm working for what? 35 hours. Not true? And for each of those hours that I work, I was paid what? Times what? $11. Why is it my time's not working? Come again. So 35 hours, and I'm paid what? $11.20 every hour. But how long did I work for? I work for 4 weeks. So this is every week. Not true, this is every week, you know. And it's every hour. And I work for a total of what? 4 hours. All CXC is asking you to do here, ladies and gentlemen, is to multiply these three numbers. Answer. What do you get? Anybody?
392.
1568.
1568. So $1,568. Right? And that's it. That's it. 2 marks. Nothing too crazy. Here it is. 2 marks just for that. Sir, you sure said this CXC give it? It's a CXC paper. I didn't make up it. I'm not making these things up. It's a CXC paper. So it's 2 marks just to multiply 3 numbers. This is what persons come out of the exam and say CXC hard. And you're gonna see as you go through the paper, there's gonna be some questions here that are tricky. But majority, there is more than enough questions on the paper to get you a pass. There's a question them can turn. All right, any questions on that one? Everybody understand what we just read? 35 hours every week. Every hour where you work, you get $11.20. I'm sure if I presented this on a contract and I hired you to work for me, I'm sure you're going to tell me how much money you get for your pay. I'm sure. I'm not sure how many persons here work by an hour. I work per hour. Some person get a steady salary or a fixed salary, right? But some person here might have worked per hour. If you work 40 hours a week and every week, every hour I'm supposed to pay $100, I'm sure you're going to figure out a way how to calculate how much money you must get at the end of the week. So if you do that for 4 weeks straight, how much money are you supposed to get? This is a very common sense question to an extent. So these questions you're not supposed to get them wrong. You're not supposed to. It shows, them thing here, it shows your weaknesses. All right? Moving right along to the next question if there's none. In a certain week, and pay attention to this here, certain week. When I say certain, that means this is not repetitive. It's not consistent. So in a certain week, Harish works 8 hours overtime. 8 hours overtime. So this is a different ball game now. We already know, say, for 4 weeks, he's getting that. In fact, you know what? Let us just put down, just in case we need it, let's put down how much you can get for 1 week. What you would get for 1 week is just simply 35 times 11.20. That's for 1 week. I would just put that down just to the side. Calculate that for me, please.
392.
Right, so we just want to jot that down just in case we need it. Because we don't want to make mistake. 392 is alright. Yeah, we don't want to make mistake with this. This $1,568 right there, so that you're seeing, is what is paid for 4 weeks. All right. So that's what he gets for. So this over here is what you get for 4 weeks. This over here is what you get for a week. Let's go back down here. So in a certain week, Harish works 8 hours overtime. The overtime hours, notice them I tell you where overtime is paid at. Overtime are different money, people. You get different money for overtime. So overtime is paid. Look now. Overtime is paid. Okay, Oh, that was somebody's microphone. All right. So overtime is paid at 1.5 times the usual rate of this. So that means this person is not getting the $11.20 anymore. They're gonna get $11.20 multiplied by 1.5. Multiplied by 1.5. The rate is higher. So how much so calculate that for me now. How much are they going to be paid? How much are they going to be paid?
16.8.
$16.80. So they now get the regular rate again. And this is a real life question, It's not even math, it's just more like interpreting what it's saying. So you're getting what now? Give me a sec. You're getting $16 instead and 80 cents. Is that what it is?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Good. So this is the new rate you're getting only if you work overtime. Is if you work your regular hours, you get your regular $11.20. Now we're told that this person work what? 8 hours overtime, not true? So therefore, if you work 8 hours overtime, we want to find the total. Notice them capitalize the word total. We want to find the total amount of money Harish is paid for that week. That week meaning it's a certain week that this happened. It don't happen every week. So we know that for that week, Harish would get normally how much money? $392. Not true? That's how he normally get every week. Remember, this was as a relation of how much? 4 weeks. So don't get it confused. This 1,568 was because of 4 weeks. But because him work every week, him get $392, he's still going to get that $392. But for that week, he worked what? 8 hours overtime, to which he was paid a rate of $16.80. All right. So do the math. Type it all on your calculator at once.
Um, 6,585.6
6,000 or 600?
thousand.
I can't get 1,000. That too much.
We have 526
Hey,
140. Let me just recalculate.
Yeah, man. Nothing wrong with recalculation, right? Do it one time and then do it again. Do it a second time to verify. I make sure it makes sense, Because he's only been paid $11. I don't know how much hours you have to go work to make $6,000 working at $11.
I got 526.40.
526.40. All right, and that is your answer right there.
Remember
Yeah.
the 392, it's not multiplied by 8, it's plus. It's just the way sir write it.
Oh, sorry, my bad, sorry. So it's plus. So the 392 is the normal pay we get every week. But because of that week, right? That week he worked what? 8 hours overtime, and he was paid a rate of what? 16.80 for each hour of that overtime. All right? And then they end up with 526. But even if you make a mistake, right? Just make sure that the answers, guys, make sense. Okay? Make sure they make sense. There's some mistakes that are forgivable, and there's some mistakes that are not forgivable. Okay. All right. Any questions on that?
Question, sir. When I put it into my calculator and it takes off to 0, would I like get marked down for that 0?
As in, when it said, as in you didn't put the 16.80.
I'm on a calculator and got the answer, but I noticed for the top part and the bottom part, it doesn't add the 0 on the calculator.
That's fine, but you have to just know that to put a 0. You won't mark down for it, but it's money, so we know that money is always two decimal places.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions on that? Are we safe to move on? We're now at 7 points. So 5.
Sir,
Yes, question.
are we going to have this to watch over?
Oh, yeah, man. The classes are being recorded.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, man. All right, moving on. All right, moving on. So now we're at question 2. We're now we're now approaching the algebra questions now. All right. And we already know that algebra was a very long topic that took us about 3 months to complete, right? Because it was so long. And it's an essential part of everything because almost everything that we are going to be doing involves some sort of algebra. Now, we've mentioned this word. I know that students in here can vouch for me. We've spent time segregating or differentiating between something known as, differentiating between simplification and solving, right? When we talk about simplifying, we're talking about breaking stuff down to a lower form. Simplifying, you can't simplify something and then end up getting an equal sign. In the first place, there was no equal sign in this thing right here. No equal sign on it. So you shouldn't be telling me that this thing equals something. That is a carnal sin. It's an expression. So you break it down. Now, this thing that you're looking at here, number 2a, it's a fraction. So regardless of whether the fraction is algebraically written or it's numerically written, the rules for fractions remains the same. If I'm to scroll back up here, all the way to question 1, right? Up here. And we had this fraction. What did I do with the 12 over 35 and the 7 over 9? I cancelled, not true. I look for something that can go into something, right? And I break it down. So why do you think that this 12 over 35 times 7 over 9 is any different from this thing that I have down here? How is it different? It's not different. It's still multiplication and it's still a fraction. So you're still going to go ahead then. Ladies and gentlemen, and you're going to say 4 into itself 1 time and 4 into 16, 4. Right? That's still a fraction, not change. It just have on the x. And then you're going to say now, this x here, I'm going to cancel this x here, not true? And then this 5, I'll cancel this 15 and left 3. Not true? So what I want you to write it down first. You're going to say 4 over 15, right? Multiplied by 15x over 16. See, there's not 15x, 55. Sorry, my bad.
5x.
Thank you so much. So 4 over 5x, right? So write it down first, true? And then you say, this x, let me just use a red ink. This x cancel this x here, right? And then this 4 cancel that itself, and 4 into 16 goes 4 times. And then 5 into itself goes 1 time, and 5 into 15 goes 3. May I cancel? So now we end up then with 1 multiplied by 3 is 3, and 1 multiplied by 4 is 4. Notice I did not say that you can't get a number. I just say that when you cancel it out, you can't write equal. So it's like I'm write equal there, so I'm only saying that the cancellation is equivalent to this answer. So simplifying doesn't mean that you're going to get, when you simplify something, right, unless everything gets cancelled out like this one, you get a number. Many students simplify and end up solving something, saying x r. So this is what I was saying. When you simplify, some students will say that x is equal to 3 over 4. That is wrong, right? We never say you must solve for x. We say break down the expression that was given, right, and then break down the expression that was given, and then rewrite what is left in the expression. Okay? So this is the part I was talking to you about, the part where it says x equal 3 over 4. Don't do that. You only say x equal or a equal or b equal something if it says solve. Now, if you go down to this question now, see the difference? It says what? Solve the inequality. That means when I get my answer, I'm supposed to basically see where it says something like x is or in this case it's not x, is m. All right. So when you don't see x is m, remember that we said in algebra we use any letter of the alphabet to represent something that is unknown. So in this case here, m, right here, m, right? In this case, let me grab my pen, right? Pen. Where is it? Okay, pen, right. So in this case, m is our variable. Now, to solve this, ladies and gentlemen, we need to get the variables that are the same to be on the same side, right? So we need to put numbers on one side and we need to put variables on the other side, right? Any side you want to put it on is up to you. So in this case here, pardon me. So in this case here, we're going to leave the 12 on the left here, so, right? I'm going to leave the 12 on the left here. Since as the 12 is at the front, leaving the 12 here, so 12. I'm going to transpose the 5 over here, right? Now, I heard my lecturer at the university tells me that he doesn't like when, because nothing goes so. You're not supposed to like, no, at this level with it, so we just use a language here. So just in case, because the class is being recorded, other teachers might see this, right? We're not really supposed to say carryover, and it's just a nice way of just making things easier for you. We're supposed to say add or subtract to both sides, but that kind of makes the problem look a little bit more complicated, okay? So just in case anybody else is seeing this, this is just a language. This is just a language that we use to get students to understand. So I'm going to transpose the 5 to that side. Because the 5 was positive, it's going to become negative. I'm going to put back my inequality sign. And because I didn't touch the -8, I'm going to leave my -8 right there. I didn't touch it. The only thing I moved was the 5. Right? And then now I'm going to carry the -4m over there. So I'm going to end up with positive 4m. All right? So notice what I have now. I have an inequality with a constant on the left, and I have the variables on the right. Let's work it out. 12 take away 5 is going to give us 7. Why is it looking like this? Okay, my gosh. So that's 7. And then I'm going to work out -8 plus 4. I hope I don't have anybody in here who are going to tell me this is -12, you know. If you're planning to write down -12, me and not have issues. We're not supposed to do them something about 8 plus 12 and write back negative. We're past that stage long time. And if you haven't passed that stage, pass it right now. -8 is an amount that you owe. +4 is an amount that you have. Pay what you have, and you're still going to be owing 4m's. So I'm not sure if there's anybody in here who is still doing this thing where you're ignoring the sign and just add numbers. The sign, the -8 is in front. It plays a role. You can't ignore it and then put it back. That doesn't make sense, right? So -8m plus 4m means that you pay 4 because of that you have out of the 8 and you still have 4 left. So you end up then with what now? This thing right here. Now, remember that you're solving, ladies and gentlemen. So the objective is to isolate m. Remember? Isolate. This word isolate. Isolate means what? To get the variable to be by itself. So right now, m is not by itself. It has company. So how do we get rid of that -4? The -4 and the m, they are multiplying each other. So if I go ahead then and I say -4m, why is it looking like this now? Come on, stop it. So we have -4m divided by -4. I don't know why my 4 looks so, you know, look like a handicap. All right, -4, just pretend to have 4. I don't know why it looks so, right? And then that is equal to, remember, if I do something on the right side of the equation, guys, or the inequality, I have to do something on the left side as well. I can't just interfere with one side of the inequality and don't fix the other side, right? Now, careful now, ladies and gentlemen. Here's a little trick, right? You see, because this is not an equation, but it's an inequality. Because I divided by negative, then I'm going to have to reverse the sign. Lord have mercy, sir. You have to remember that? Yes, you have to remember it. You have to remember it. When you divide, write this down. When an inequality is divided by a negative coefficient, the sign must be reversed. So my final answer then is going to be negative 7 over 4 is then greater than or equal to m. That's your answer. Now, can we avoid this? Of course. Most definitely. We don't have to remember that, if you're smart, well, I'm not gonna say if you're smart. If you're familiar with how to manipulate equations, then you can avoid this. So, like I said, the class is all about alternative methods. Everybody in here learns differently. I cater for everybody. So, whilst this is one way, you have other ways as well. I'm going to show you too, no? So, by the way, question. Everybody Gucci with that? Everybody Gucci with that?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
All right,
sir.
let's switch it up. So, same question. We have 12 minus 4m is less than or equal to 5 minus 8m. So, can I avoid it? Of course, you can avoid it. Look, I'm not going to bring the 12. I'm not going to bring the 5 over here. I'm going to bring the 8m over here, right? So, I'm going to end up with positive 8m join on with the minus 4m. I'm going to put less than or equal to. I'm going to leave the 5 alone. And instead of bringing over the 5, I'm going to bring over the 12 instead. So now, look at it now. 8m minus 4m is easy for a lot of people. A lot of people know say 8 take away 4 is 4. Some person will make the mistake and say negative 12 here. So depending on the direction that you transpose the term, depending on the direction, will make your problem easier. So this is less than or equal to negative 7. So now look at this now. I'm going to divide by 4. So sir, so you divide by 4, cancel that. So m now is less than or equal to negative 7 over 4. But then students now, you have some students like that now, they're very inquisitive. They pay attention to details. I've taught so many students, they pay attention to details. They'll say to me then, sir, this that you have here and this, they don't the same. They are the same. Pay attention to where the M is. The M is on the side where the mouth is closed. The M is on the side where the mouth is closed as well. It's just that we're reading it backwards. This one on the left here is saying that M is less than or equal to negative 7 over 4. This one over here is saying that negative 7 over 4 is greater than or equal to M. So question now, if you are taller than me, how else can I say this? If you are taller than me, what other way could I say this? If someone is taller than you, right? If you're describing someone's height from their point of view, right? If I look at you, Miss Gentles, and I say that, Miss Gentles, you're which you are, no pun intended. But if I say to Miss Gentles, you're taller than me. Somebody else can look at me now and say, Mr. Peart, but you're shorter than Miss Gentles. Now the same thing we say. The same thing we say, Nashmo. So if I say that M is greater than 7 over 4, then 7 over 4 no more greater than M. Sorry, if M is less than 7 over 4, then 7 over 4 must greater than M. That's the only way the equation can be true, right? So these are the little things that I'm talking about. You see them look at 2 marks away, you see so? Don't take them for granted. Those 2 marks is what guarantees you. Okay? All right? So if everybody's go through with that question, 2 methods may give you. Pick your poison. Can I move on? Safe to move on?
Yes, sir.
Right? Safe to move on.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Sir.
Now we get yeah. Question? Oh, okay. You were just verifying. Okay. Lovely. Now we get into this part of the question, and this is now where people start get anxious now, right? And this is where now I'm gonna teach you how to calm yourself down now, right? Because when people start see diagram, their brain start get shattered, right? Take a minute, 30 seconds, and observe what, when you see the X and the this and the that and you start get frail and you start get confused, you don't need to do that, guys. You just take a minute or two and assess what kind of shape is this really. Because it can't really go outside of what you know. We're not going to give you anything that's going to go outside of what you already know, right? So what you're looking at here is basically, right? Oh, let's read it, by the way. Let's read. Them all I tell you. So sometimes you guys are really giving yourself more apprehension of what is required because you guys are not reading what is up here, right? So let's read it. The diagram below shows a compound shape. What's a compound shape? A compound shape is two shapes joined together to make one. All right? The word compound, if you do English language, you do English language or you do any form of reading, you learn about compound sentences. Compound sentences are basically two simple sentences put together. So when you hear the word compound, you ever hear about compound words like bookshelf? Book is a word, you know. Shelf is a word, you know. But when you put bookshelf together, it becomes a what? A compound word. So a lot of the times you guys are really pointing your fingers at math and I say it hard, but you guys are not using up your English language. So a compound shape is two shapes joined together to make one. What's the name of the shape? LMNPQR. That's the name of the shape. LMNPQR. I'm in a class at the moment. Can't talk to you. So that's the name of the shape. So the L, M, P, N, P, Q, and R, those are the edge, the corners of the shape, right? And it is made from what? Two rectangles. Sir, I see two rectangles. I kind of see one rectangle-ish. Let me show you where these two rectangles are, right? There's two ways to look at the rectangle. It just depends on how you feel comfortable, right? How you feel comfortable and also depends on what information is given to you about the diagram. So look at the two rectangles now. Look, I can go here. I can look at it from this point of view here. So this is rectangle A and this is rectangle B. Or if you don't want to see it that way, right, you can look at it from this point of view as well. This may not be this may not look like a rectangle to you, know. It's just a short rectangle. Because what makes a rectangle, man? That's the question. What makes a rectangle? People often think that a rectangle has to be long. I don't know where in the world people believe that a rectangle has to be long. I don't know where people get that premise from. All right, show you something. Look at this. Which of these is a rectangle? Those two shapes. The top part is X. So this, hold on. Let me show me do it good. Come on, let me get the point across. I want to do some things. I want to show you some things on this class during these marathon, these online. I also want to prove to some of you guys that online learning is the best learning platform. Here, so you can really feel yourself. I don't know why a person afraid of online. But anyways, where we there, Mr. Pierce. All right, so which of these is a rectangle? And how you know? That more I know. How you know? My purpose to draw the two of them to look almost alike. So let's pretend to them join on, right? This is X. This is X. This is X. This is Y. Which of those are rectangle? One of them is a rectangle. Which one is it?
The one with X and Y.
And how you know? Say, all right, so we don't know what X is and we don't know what Y is, but what makes you think it's a rectangle?
I think it's a rectangle because the x1 is telling me that the sides are equal.
Correct. So because these two sides are the what? The same, it makes this shape over here a square. Because what we know about a square has two equal sides, but a rectangle has opposite sides equal. Sorry, opposite side. Yeah, it has two pairs of opposite sides that are equal. All right. So the premise where that a lot of students come up with and say, oh, sir, a rectangle at the shape were long. No, I can draw one simple little something and put on and make it look like one square, but the measurements are slightly different. You didn't know that a rectangle can be 10 centimeter and 9 centimeter long. If one side slightly longer, even if it's 0.1 longer, it's a rectangle. I hope you know that. I hope you know that. No, you know. All right, so get back to the question now. So the length of the lengths in the diagram which are written in terms of x. So that's something here that looks scary because I know what is scaring you. I know what would scare me, so we know what's scary. So there's something here. It make the maths look hard. For x, what you guys are accustomed to is saying that the length is 10, the length is 5, the length is 3. You guys are not. It's not common for someone to say that the length is something involve x. So don't pay attention to that. Every rule that you would apply if it was numerical is the same rule you would apply if it's algebraically written. Let's answer the question. Question says, find an expression. Notice they never say you must solve nothing. Them say find an expression, and the expression where you write down, it must be in terms of x. So it must have x in the answer for the length. Not true? So find an expression in terms of x for the length of what? PQ. Where is PQ? This is PQ right here. Let me use a different color, blue. So this is PQ right here. You want to find PQ right here. So this is PQ. They want to know what is this length. Not true? No. Look here, guys. Pay very close attention to what I'm going to show you right now, right? No. PQ. All of this side here, so watch now. This is MN, right? Also. Not true? This is MN, right? And notice now that MN, PQ, and LR, they're all parallel. Parallel meaning that they're going in the same direction. So those three lengths right there, so notice that they're going in the same direction. But if you notice that, if I'm to go ahead and send LM right here, so, LR right here, so, I could just extend this side up here, so, like that. Notice now, ladies and gentlemen, that MN measures what? 3x. But MN can easily be made up of this side and this side. So MN is broken up into two parts. You can see that MN is actually made up of two sections, right? You're not seeing it fully, you know what? That's what I'm trying to highlight to you here. So MN is really from here to here. MN is from here to here, and also from here to here. But from here to here is the same thing as from here to here. So I know that up here, so right here, so is actually x plus 3. So all of this length right here, ladies and gentlemen, all of this length here is 3x. This length up here, so is x plus 3. So if I know all of the length, which is 3x, and I know, I'm not going to say half of it. Let's not say half, because we don't know if it's half, right? I know that this. Hold on, guys. Something dropped. So I know that all of that length, MN, more you understand intuitively what we're doing, you know. Because I can just come here and just give you the answers, but you don't know what me I say. So, watch again. Watch again now. Zin? These two lines right here makes up Mn, right? Because Mn is broken up into two pieces, the part here and the part here, right? So, I need to find PQ. We don't know for half, but we just know say we have a portion of it. So, all I need to do is just subtract this piece here from all of this right here. So, and we get the rest, if that makes sense, right? So, we subtract the piece so I know from the full piece and we get my answer. So, look at this now. Write it down. Subtract. PQ is going to be equal to 3x minus x plus 3. I don't know why my pen is behaving like this. So PQ is equal to, write it out in terms, right? So PQ is equal to Mn minus LR. So PQ is equal to Mn, that's the long side that we have, minus LR, which is the one over here on the left. Mn, we know is 3x. Open bracket. Sir, why you open the bracket? Because the reason why you have to open the bracket is because of two terms over here, son. You can't just write down minus x plus 3. If you do that, you're going to be incorrect. You see, if it was just one term over here, I could just say 3x minus x. But you can't just write down 3x minus x plus 3. No, you have to put 3x minus open bracket x plus 3. So now we end up with 3x. So we're going to use this negative here and distribute. So 3x negative x, and then negative times 3 is negative 3. Most persons get this question wrong. So 3x minus x is 2x minus 3. So this length right here, so, is 2x minus 3. Right? 2x minus 3. So that is your answer right there. All right? So this length right here, so, is 2x minus 3. Any questions on that? I might have over-explained myself a while ago. I don't know. I felt like I kind of over-explained. But I hope you guys get it.
So you can go back over the little part underneath the bracket.
Right. So the negative that is on the outside of the bracket, right? That negative will change what is on the inside of the bracket. So the negative outside multiplies the x and gives negative x, and the negative on the outside of the bracket changes to plus 3 to a minus 3. They end up with 3x minus x minus 3. A lot of persons would end up with 2x plus 3, and that's where you'd fall short. You'd lose that 1 mark. So whenever you're subtracting algebraic variables, if you're subtracting a monomial variable from a binomial variable, put the binomial variable in bracket. So what do you mean by that? This is monomial because there is what? Mono means one. One term did it, 3x. And you're subtracting a binomial expression from it. So you're subtracting x plus 3. So you have to put the binomial in a bracket there. Okay, next question, RQ. So we're looking for RQ now. Where is RQ? This is RQ right here. So if you notice that RQ, look at the ones that are parallel now. RQ underline up there, so. You notice how the whole of them parallel in the same direction? So if I'm looking for RQ, I have to just subtract this here from that. Not true. You subtract the short piece from the long piece. So you subtract the piece down here, so, from all of this up here, so, and we get the piece that is left. All right? Again, remember say them are binomial, you know. So when you go boom and you say 4x, let me zoom up this here. 4x, no, 4, this is what, 4x plus what, 5? 4x minus 5, my bad. So 4x minus 5. Eraser. All right, so 4x minus 5. So 4x minus 5, right? Minus, watch it now, open the bracket. You see any do that? Ha, you get it wrong, guys. You're gonna get it wrong. So whole people in 2023 got this question wrong because of that very reason. The bracket was missing. Because once you subtract a binomial from a binomial, the binomial that you're the one that you're subtracting should be in bracket. So this is going to be 4x minus 5 minus x, because the minus here changes that and the minus here changes that as well, minus 1. So we end up then with 4x minus x. That is going to, so these two are alike. You can subtract them there. That's 3x. And then you have minus 5 minus 1. That's going to give you minus 6. So we get minus 6. Minus 5 minus 1 or minus 4. No. The minus 5 is an amount that you owe. The minus 1 is an amount that you also owe. So you owe 5 and you owe 1. You end up owing 6. And that is your solution. Okay? Right, and that is it. Okay? That is it. Any questions? Right?
Awesome.
Good to go. Now, this part now, so you see this part here? Look. When you see this now, you almost feel like, it's almost like your brain just tells you, I'm gonna know for this. But clueless. And you're not supposed to be clueless, because there's a keyword in this question where them say total. So they're saying that you should what? Given that the total area, the area of the whole entire shape is, so they're telling you, right? They're telling you that the area of the two rectangles is what? Is this. Sorry, no, they're telling that the area, they're telling you that the whole area is 414. Your job now is to do some simplification to make everything boil down back to this. So you have to show that x squared plus x minus 72 is equal to 0. How much marks is worth? 4. Guys, we work 4 marks. You know, say no boy work. Interpretation. 4 marks is here. So, sir, how are you going to do this? All right. Let's clean up our diagram. So we are told that the area is 414 of the whole shape. But this is not a shape. This shape doesn't have a name. It's a compound shape. So you now have to be, this is where the reasoning part coming now. This is the part that CX is looking for. So CX says, let me say the student that can reason. So this student now is going to say, all right then, you know what? I'm going to break up this now. So I'm going to do this now. The area of the shape. Now, how am I going to do this? All right, look. Like that. No, in fact, let me just brighten this thing here so you can see what I want. Now you see clearly what I want in. So I'm going to break it up into portions. I'm going to go slow with that one here. Because I want me to see you get it, You see, if you're not done the paper today, that no matter me. You want me to say every question I teach today, you understand it thoroughly. So I'm going to break it up like that. I'm going to call this rectangle A. I'm going to call this rectangle B. So I'm going to find an expression for rectangle A and rectangle B. That I'm going to try to find an expression for. So watch this now. Anybody can remind me of what is the area of a rectangle? Yeah, book shuffle upon that, What's the area of a rectangle, guys? That don't look good.
2 length times width.
2 length times width. You sure area or is that perimeter? Which
No,
one?
sir.
Is it 2 length times width or length times width?
Times
with
Length times width. That's it. So jot that down. Get that down, guys. Length times width. Now, we are going to use this length right as so. And we're going to use this width right as so. Right? We can't use the one up here so. Because this 4x minus 5 is for all of here. So you can't use that. We're not using that big long rectangle. So you can't use that 4x minus 5 to represent your length. Now, you notice that the question asked us earlier to find RQ. What did we get as RQ down here? 3x minus 6, not true? Good. So that's going to be your length. So that's going to be 3x minus 6 times, what's the width at the side? X plus 3. So that would represent your what? The area of rectangle A. Not true? We're going to put a little box around that. We sew circle back for that. Hold on upon that for a second. Let's go to rectangle B now. Rectangle B now, I'm going to have what now? The length which is here, not true? And the width which is down here. So now the area of rectangle B now. So area of rec B is going to be, the length is 3x. You don't have to put that in a bracket because it's just a monomial term. So it's 3x, but you have to put the binomial in one bracket, x plus 1. All right? And then I'm going to put a little red box around this here. This now is going to be my length of rectangle B. Sorry, not length of rectangle B, area of rectangle B. So all me have to do now is just simplify these two expressions and add them together because them say the total area is 414. So I'm going to go ahead now. I'm going to go on my page over here, down here. I'm going to write down these two expressions that I have. So copy them for me now. Tell me what they are, guys, when I move my page, because I won't be able to see the page when I go down. All right. So it's 3x minus 6 by x plus 3. 3x minus 6 by x plus 3. 3x minus 6. So I'm going to have 3x minus 6 times x, or minus 3 or plus 3? Plus 3. All right, and then I'm going to plus this back now to what? 3x by, what was it that I have up here? X plus 1. And that should be equal to 414. That's what they're saying. So we need it. So when we break this down, if we know how to break it down, it will eventually break down to x squared plus x minus 72. Can anybody recall me teaching you, once me teach you, can you recall me teaching you something called foiling? First with first, first with second, second with first, second with second. Anybody can vouch for me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And did I not tell you that every time you see something outside of a bracket, you should use to multiply what is on the inside? All right. So can we do that? So what is 3x times x? That will give us 3x squared. And what is 3x times 3? Look at the arrows, look at what I do. So that is 3x times x, 3x squared. 3x times 3, that's going to give us 9x. Then we are going to have now minus 6 times x, minus 6x. And we're going to have minus 6 times 3, that will give us minus 18. All right, then we go over here. Now we're going to end up with what now? 3x times x again is going to be positive 3x squared. And then 3x times 1 is going to give us positive 3x. And then that's going to be equal to 414. So this is CSEC way of testing you. Two things them are test you for here. So 1, reasoning. 2, computation. You're testing. Do you know how to foil an algebraic expression? Do you know how to simplify an algebraic expression? Now, group-like terms. 3x squared and 3x squared are one thing. So those two are squares. We can add them together. So that's going to give us what? 6x squared. The 9x and the 6x, sorry, the 9x and the negative 6x and the 3x is one term. They all have an x. So 9 minus 6 is 3. And 3 plus 3 is also 6x. And then now the minus 18 and the 40 and the 414 is one thing. So I can therefore go ahead then and put them together. So that's minus 18. And we're going to bring over this over here. So because they want everything to be over here. So that's minus 414. And that's going to be equal to 0 because nothing is left on the right. So the x squared and the x squared go together. All the x's go together. Remember, you don't interfere with the powers. You just focus on the numbers that are in front of the variables. Now, break this down nicely. Now we're going to get what? 6x squared plus 6x. And if you owe me 18 and you owe me 14, my math is telling me that this is 32. Negative 432. Confirm it, please. I think it's negative 432. Equals 0. Confirm it, please, so we don't make a mistake. Negative 18 minus 414 is negative 432. Confirm?
Yes, sir. Yes,
All
yes.
right. Now, because it looked like 6 is in the first term and 6 is in the second term, my best bet is that I'm going to go ahead and cancel everything by 6. So go ahead and divide everybody by 6. When I divide the first one by 6, the 6 I go cancel. I end up with what? X squared. When I divide the second one by 6, the 6 I go cancel again. I'm going to be left with x. And guess what happens when I divide 432 by 6? When you get the answer, please shout it out.
Negative 72.
All right. So isn't this what they asked us for up here, ladies and gentlemen?
That's true.
Right. So you couldn't have gotten that answer. You see, anyhow, you see the bracket we tell about up here, so you would have been so frustrated and you wouldn't have been able to see why you're getting that. You couldn't get the 72. It's that bracket here what we talk about. Important. Very, very important, which is something that I've done this in class. Like I can take up a student book right now. I can go to a page where I did this very exact thing here and warn students, not warn them, but I emphasize the importance of making sure so you know how to use things outside of the bracket to distribute what is on the inside. Okay? So that is it for that question. All right, lovely. And that's it. That's it for that. Nothing more for there. All right? Lovely. All right. So we know at question 3 now. We know at question 3. Give me a sec. All right. So Akisha, you're okay. Richardson, you're good? So check in on the students then.
Yeah, I'm good one.
All right. And JD, you okay? I know you're sick from the other day, so you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
All right. Joshua is okay. Cavandre, Empress, good. Sasa, you all right there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, lovely, 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 lovely. All right, cool. So who for there? That's wonderful. Kalu, how you stay? Good? You Gucci?
Yes, yes, sir.
All right, bam. What you say? Unable to open file. What you saying to me? Huh? What you saying? Who closed my document? Well, I don't know them. I don't know what them do with my document. Open, fail to open. Hey, anyways, I look at him, I have it. So, all right, self. So I'll just go to the question. All of that information was deleted. I don't know why, but all right, cool. No worries. Question 3. The diagram below shows a semicircle with a diameter AC, right? With a diameter. Let's underline some keywords in this question here. The diameter is AC. What do you know about diameter? Diameter is the diameter is the line that cuts the circle into 2 halves, correct? Verify?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What is half of the diameter called?
Radius.
Radius, very good. All right. So from this information here, we are told that this thing right here, so, is the diameter. Cool, no problem. All right. B is a point on the circumference. So B so B is a point somewhere on the circumference. All right, cool. And them say AB, look at this key now, you know. AB and BC, they're both equal to 8.2. Right? So AB, although you only seen one 8.2, you see those 2 strokes right here? Those means that they are equal. So this is also 8.2 as well. So that's 8.2 meters as well. All right? That's called the transitive law. Right? If AB is equal to BC and BC is equal to 8.2, then it means that AB has to be equal to 8.2. Transitive law. All right, question says, state the geometric name of the line AB. Does anybody know what that line AB is called? State the geometric name for the line AB. We spoke about this. Correct. That is correct, sir. Whoever that was. It's called a chord. Remember? All right, so for my online students, you guys have not learned circle theorem as yet. You guys have not learned circle theorem as yet. But you guys would have done measurement and we had done circles. So you would have heard about the tangent and the radius and the chord. So the word chord isn't completely unfamiliar, but I emphasize a lot on it when I'm actually teaching circle theorem. All right? So a chord, write this down for those who don't have it. A chord is any line that is drawn within the circumference of the circle. A chord is any line that is drawn within the circumference of the circle. So the student just said chord. That is absolutely correct. 1 mark. Sweet, 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 sweet. Now the question says, find the value of the radius of the circle.
Sorry, I can repeat what you said the card is again.
Or the chord is any line that is drawn within the circumference. So every line that is inside of the circle, once it's touching 2 parts of the circumference, here and here, or here and here, as long as the line is touching 2 parts of the circumference, then that line is called a chord.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Question says, find the value of the radius of the circle. Now we know that, right? Well, we are supposed to know that radius is equal to diameter divided by 2. That we're supposed to know, you know. But here the problem now, we don't know what the diameter is. So whatever series you're gonna come up with and say, why, well, sir, the diameter look like. It's where you start to look like me and a friend. We said from the beginning that the diagrams are not drawn to scale, and you can guess it. So this is where now CXC is testing for knowledge. How much marks it worth? 3. So this can't be a just look and write down something. Nobody's not going to give you 3 marks just to just write down something. No, you need knowledge. So CXC is testing now. So earlier when I said to you that when CSEC is marking, they're marking for reasoning. And yes, so CXC target you right now. Does the student realize that this angle right here says 90 degrees? What? How comes? How comes this is 90, sir? For the students who have done circle theorem, my online students have not done it as yet. But my face-to-face students would have already seen the topic, circle theorem. There's a rule or there's a theorem that states that an angle, write it down, guys, write it down, because majority of you girls don't have it. An angle that is subtended by a diameter, write it down, guys, an angle that is subtended by a diameter at the circumference, because the angle has to be subtended at the circumference. So an angle that is subtended by a diameter at the circumference equals 90 degrees. Now, the word subtended may not be something that you guys have heard before. Only in maths we use a word. But in this context, the word subtended means created or made. So if you want to remove the word subtended and put made for easy understanding, then okay, do that. So an angle that is made by the chord at the circumference is equal to 90. That is a given. It's not something that you have to, because other mathematicians have proved it already. So what do you mean by made, sir? Look at the diameter. The diameter is what? AC, right? And we draw one line from A towards B, and we draw one line from the other end of the diameter towards B again. So therefore, there's an angle created by the diameter. That angle right here is what? 90 degrees. Now, what is the name of the triangle that has a 90 degree in it? What is the name? It's a right angle triangle, not true?
Right. Yes.
So basically, this shape that you're looking at here that is in the circle is a right angle, not true? All right? Now, what's the name given to the side that is in front of the 90 degree? Anybody knows? Start with H.
Hypotenuse.
Very good. That's the hypotenuse, right? And we know that these two sides are known as the what? The legs, or we call them the what? We call them the opposite and the adjacent, respectively. Not true? So now here's where now we're going to run to your formula, because nerves not the examiner. Nerves is in the exam. Oops, sorry. So now we have a right angle triangle, and we were given two of the sides, and we need to find the third. So there's a formula. It starts with P. What name? He has a name. Name start with P.
Pythagoras.
Right. Pythagoras theorem. That's a formula that I think CXC should put on the paper. But they not do it. They leave it up to you if you remember it. So C squared. Oh, well, the online students are familiar with this. So since there's most of you guys are, both of you, there are some face-to-face students here as well. So the face-to-face students would have been exposed to C squared is equal to, face-to-face students would have been more familiar with these letters, right? These letters that we're using down here. C squared is equal to A squared. Why is it looking at this? So C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared. All right. The online students would have been more familiar with A squared is equal to O squared plus A squared. I same thing. I just different letters I use. Same thing, guys. All right, A squared, right? So anyone can use. All right, now remember that we said that C or H, well, H in this case obviously represents the hypotenuse, but C represents the hypotenuse as well. So in this case, because the hypotenuse, which is this is the hypotenuse right here. The hypotenuse is missing. It is unknown. So this side is missing. That means we're going to put AC right here. AC is right here because AC is missing. All right. And we know so the other two sides are what? 8.2 squared. 8.2 squared plus 8.2 squared. So AC squared is therefore equal to what? I don't know. What is 8.2 squared? It's supposed to be a little bit over 64.
67.24.
67.24. So instead of a 67.24
Yes.
twice, right? 67.24. Now go ahead and add those two together.
I'm 134.48.
All right, and how do we find AC when the square? So AC is equal to the square root of 134.48. What's my answer then?
That's 11.6.
What centimeter? Right. So now we know that this side here is what? 11.6. Oops, where am I going with this black ink? So 11.6. So 11.6 is this length right here. No, that's the length of the diameter. So therefore now, radius is equal to what? 11.6 divided by 2. How much you got? So the radius is equal to
5.8.
how much? 5.8?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. All right, and that's how you get the 4 marks, the 3 marks. So this is the reasoning part. There's nowhere the reasoning is the CXC target in this question. The reasoning. Because you're not expecting to use Pythagoras theorem in a measurement question. No. Because Pythagoras theorem, you would have been taught and you would have been rigorously taught that Pythagoras theorem comes in what? Trig. So if you don't see nothing triggy on the paper, you're not thinking like that. But the student now who recognize that, hey, and not only trig alone, them use Pythagoras theorem in. You use Pythagoras theorem in a triangle that's right angled. So wherever this right angle triangle pop up, Pythagoras theorem will be popping up as well. Not true? So that is how you deal with that question there. So, all right. So that is it. Any questions on that? Okay. No questions. Everybody go through. Now, this next question here. Each interior angle of a polygon is 160. Your task is to calculate the number of sides on the polygon. And this is just knowledge. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you just don't know. It's 2 marks, right? So remember, we tell us we have how much points to dash? 40. So if you go on an exam and you book up on a question like this and you feel like I never taught it to you, because chances are there's going to be questions on the paper that I'm not going to say I deliberately forget to teach you, but there's going to be questions on the paper that the knowledge kind of get marinated with other stuff. So it kind of just like, it's kind of like I said it, but I didn't spend a lot of time emphasizing on it because of, we started the course. We started the course knowing that time was against us. So there's a lot of things that I'm really supposed to teach you if I had the time, but I didn't. We never had the time. So we have to just touch and go on certain things. So there's a formula for this, guys, right? So a regular polygon the formula for the internal angle of a polygon, let's write this down. So internal angle, more short word. So I'm going to call it IA, internal angle. The formula, right, for internal angle, write this down, guys. The formula for the internal angle of a regular polygon, the formula for the internal angle of a regular polygon is 180n minus 360 divided by n. That's the formula. So the formula for finding the internal angle of a regular polygon is 180n minus 360 divided by n. Just making sure I'm responding to everybody. All right, so what's the internal angle? They said that the internal or interior angle, same thing. So they're telling us here in this question that the internal angle is 160. So I'm going to put 160 right here. And it's going to be 180. Obviously, I don't know what is n. N represents the number of sides. All right, now, anybody, well, I'm not sure. A person can vouch for me. Whenever we have something at the bottom of an equation, regardless of what is at the bottom, we're going to multiply both sides by whatever is down there. All right? So we're going to go ahead now and we're going to multiply both sides by n. I'm going to multiply over here by n. I'm going to multiply over here by n as well. So when I multiply both sides by n, this n will cancel this n. So I'm going to be left with 160. Sorry, not that n. Wrong n cancel. My bad. Sorry, wrong n may cancel. This n is the one that cancels each other. So this n cancels this n. So I'm going to be left with 160n is equal to 180n minus 360. So I'm looking for n. All right. I don't know how you want to, I don't know if you want to carry over the 180 or you want to carry over the 360. It's up to you. I'm going to carry over this here. So I'm going to get 160n minus 180n. And that's going to be equal to negative 360. Now 160 take away 180 is negative 20n. And that's equal to negative 360. And if I divide both sides by minus 20, cancel that, n will be equal to 18. So whatever the name of this polygon is, I don't know what it is, whatever the name of this polygon is, it's gonna have 18 sides. So for a polygon to have an internal angle of 160, this polygon has to have 18 sides. All right. So this is just kind of something like, if you know it, you know it. If you don't, then okay, put it in your dash box. All right. And that is basically the end of question 3. Well, not the end of question 3, but right. Now this topic is something that we spend some time on as well. That is what. And I've said this to you. We've said it and we're going to continue to say it. That this question, majority of the time, it comes with the diagram. The shape is drawn for you already. All right, so this is transformation.
Can scroll up back a second for me, please.
No, somebody tell me
Okay, you can continue.
Right, somebody's mic is unmuted, guys, so remember your background. All right, so here we go. All right, so the diagram below shows a trapezium. A. So a trapezium is that shape. That's how it looks. Drawn on a square grid. Square grid is another name for the graph paper. So they have a piece of graph paper, they copy it and place it here, right? It says, and we're looking at it, right? So let's get down to the question. 3 marks. On the diagram above, you're to draw the image of A after it undergoes a reflection in the line x equal -1. This is what we call parallel reflection. So x equal -1. So we have to find out where is -1 on the x-axis. So -1 is right here. That's -1. So you find -1. Remember that them say x equal -1. So you look for -1 on the x-axis, draw one straight line through it. Right? Because you can't draw it, so you know. If you draw it through, so it'll go through one whole number. So that would make no sense. Now, reflection suggests that the points, the points, like these points right here, so this here, this here, this here, and this here, they're going to be equal distance away from the mirror line. The mirror line is the red line. So question is, how far is this point from the mirror line? 1, 2, 3. So that position there is 3 points away from that red line. That means it's going to be 1, 2, 3 on the other side. So this point is going to be reflected over here. So, all right, good. Next point now, how far is this one right here? This one, how far is it from the mirror line? Let's check it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to be what? 1, 2, 3, 4 on the other side. Over here. Same thing for this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 on that side. And this one is 1, 2. 1, 2. And we just use a nice pencil, connect that to that, to that, to that. And that is our shape. That's it. Nothing more. So it says draw the image of A after it undergoes a reflection in the line x equal 1, x equal -1, and label it A prime. So we're going to label this A prime. Next one says now what? Translation, you must draw the image of A now, but this time it goes under what? A translation of 4, -7. So what they're trying to say is that each point on the original shape, the one that they give you, is going to take 4 steps to the right and 7 steps down. That's what they're trying to say. If you remember the reflection formula, you could use O plus T equal I, but that's too much work. I just 1 mark. Me now go through all of that for 1 mark. So all me have to do is just take each point and move it 4 steps to the right. Because remember, the top number tells you whether you should go left or right. And the bottom number tells you whether you should go up or down. Not true. That's what it tells you. So 4, -7. Each point will take 4, -7. So watch now. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The point is going to be right down here. So. Right? So this point right here, so this one, it just took 4 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Land right there, so. Right? Next point. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Some person will find one way to figure this out faster, you know. But I teach it, so I have to just make sure I do it the correct way. This next point. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right down here, so. And then now last point, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So those 2 points are going to be right here and right here. All right, and connect this. That and that. I will say that a reflection, the object and image are opposite in appearance. And for a translation, the object and image are identical in appearance. All right, you can revisit that. And that's it. So it's that whole entire month that we spent learning transformation. Them can just send this come alone. This alone come. So you can be preparing so much for it. And this is all them send come. All right, so that is it. Any questions on that? So we're just gonna work question 4 to take us into lunch. Right, we're gonna just work question 4 to take us into lunch. And good thing is that this is a topic that we are currently doing right now online. And it's a topic that we would have done in fit. So everybody here that I have taught personally throughout the year, you would have seen this. So we're gonna run through this question quick and fast. And then this question will take us into lunch, which means that we're gonna come back at 1 o'clock to wrap up the rest of the questions. Okay? All right, let's get to it. Now, consider the following functions. F of x, and then give it as something there, 3 over x plus 2, and g of x is equal to 4x minus 5. And they also give you another function here, h of x is x squared plus 1. Anybody remember what we said about this undefined function? Anybody can check their notes and tell me? What did we say when a function is undefined? It's in your notes. My online students are deep into this topic, so it would have been something that they would have done a while back. Undefined function.
The determinant is equal to 0.
No, that's a matrix. Determinant or denominator, which one you think? A mistake you make right?
Denominator.
Okay. So the denominator is equal to 0. So you're talking about the function what? F, not true? And does the function f has a denominator? It does. Here it is. So all we're going to do is just say what? X plus 2 equals 0. Therefore, x is equal to, care over that, negative 2. That's it. Done. 1 mark. So jot it down. An undefined function is a function where the denominator of that function must be equal to 0. Anything we learn for the first time, jot it down. This one now, find the value of g of a quarter. We spoke about this. This is what you call direct function. So we're going to plug that in. Ladies and gentlemen, folks, into the g function right here. So we're going to plug a quarter right here. So anyway, you see x, you're going to put a quarter. So this will be what? 4 times a quarter. So 4 times a quarter, because it's 4x, right? So 4 times a quarter minus 5. Cancel that. Sometimes it cancels, sometimes it doesn't, but in this case it does. So that's 1 minus 5. Answer is equal to negative 4. That's it. 1 mark again.
Wait them, miss. Remember, I miss all of this. Wherever I see G, I replace that with 4.
No, we erase the x that is in the g.
X. Okay.
Yeah. Because g of a quarter is really coming from g of x. So notice that the x was replaced by a quarter. So you look into the function right here, you see an x right there, so you just replace that x with a quarter. So that's why we have 4 times a quarter. All right, and then now we have another direct function. The marks are sweet marks, and you get them right, you just a laugh. In an exam, I laugh and people think you're mad. I'm not mad, you're mad. I pass maths. That's what it feels like. Pass, go through. And nobody will stop you. h of minus 3. Again, anyway you see x, you're going to put what? Minus 3. Now, this question is easy to get incorrect because two things students are going to do. They're going to put the minus 3 and square it and then put plus 1. And then some students, like the students that me teach and them know this thing for do, they're going to put minus 3, square it, and get 1. So what's the difference? The difference is that this one over here is saying that the negative is not squared, but just the 3. So if you write this down and listen, you say if you write it down, if you write down minus 3 squared like what I just did, let me just write again. If you write down minus 3 like that, I'll put square plus 1 and still get the answer right, you'll get the whole question wrong. Because this here, this minus 3 squared that I've written on the left here, this actually is minus 9 plus 1, which is equal to minus 8. The correct answer is positive 9 plus 1, which is equal to 10. So, make sure you understand that this is the right answer. Let me see a clip and read for this. This is the correct answer. So when you're going to square a negative number, make sure you put the negative number in a bracket. Now, if you write down foolishness and get the correct answer, you're going to get the whole question wrong. All right? That is it here, so. All right. Can anybody vote for me? So let me show you that something here. FF0. The FF something there. And I even showed you another version to it where you can write F squared 0. Check your notes. It's dead. My name is appearing and I'm going to miss.
Yes, sir. Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
So this means now, this is a direct function now. Sorry, this is a composite function now. Composite direct. So this means now that you're going to take the 0. You're going to take the 0 and you're going to put it into F. You'll get one answer. When you get the answer there, put it back in a F again. So go root F of 0. Put 0 into F now. F there. See F up here, so. You go put 0 right here, so. Yes, you go put the 0 and work it out. So F of 0 is going to become 3 over 0 plus 2. So F of 0 is going to become 3 over 0 plus 2. That's equal to 3 over 2. All right? Well, you know what? Let me write it back down, because I want to make sure say when I do the review or I don't look watch over and I know where it come from. I want not confuse myself. So come, we write down back F again. So F of X, as instructed at the top. F of X, as instructed at the top, was 3 over X plus 2. So since you're looking for F of 0, we will replace this X right also with 0. It becomes 3 over 0 plus 2. It's 3 over 2. So that's at the first F. When you put the 0 in at the first F, take back the number you know and put it back in a F again. If it was a G, you'd put it into G. So we're going to work out F of 3 over 2. So again, anyway you see X, you're going to put what? I'm using a different color now. So now, anyway you see X now, you're going to put what? 3 over 2. You're going to end up with now F of 3 over 2 are going to equal to 3 divided by 3 over 2 plus 2. Now, but I go add 3 to 2 now and get 5 over 2. I miss the
Sir,
question.
why you use F of 3 over 2?
Because I worked out the first F, love, as I was saying earlier. I put the 0 into F and I collected the answer as 3 over 2. I have to put it back into F again because I 2F there. So the answer where you get first, take that answer and put it back into F again. Got it, Miss Right?
Yes, sir.
Lovely. So listen now, that part here, nobody go add no, nobody go get confused now. You better left here, so. You better left there, so. Nobody go add Trevor do the stupidness now. Work out this now. You go put this over 1 and find the LCM. Hold on, I'm so deep with this. So deep with that 3 there, so. So you go have 3 over 2 plus 2 over 1. LCM is what? 1. Lord Jesus of mercy, about 1. Mr. P, what you talking about? 2. 2 into 2, 1. And 1 into 2, 2. You work fractions. All right, 3 times 1 is 3. And 2 times 2 is 4. So you end up with what? 7 over 2. So that 7 over 2 is the answer for this bottom piece down here. So this 7 over 2 here is for the bottom piece. Therefore, we're going to end up with 3 divided by 7 over 2. What? Oh, okay. So remember, see that 3 there, right? So now this 3 is right here. So that 3, this fraction bar right here, so means divide. And you had worked out the answer for 3 over 2 plus 2 over 1, you get 7 over 2. So keep chain flip now. 3 multiplied by 2 over 7. And that's equal to 6 over 7. And that's your solution. All right? So, and all the time it's easy, but as you can see, the question is worth what? 1, 2, 3, 5. If I 5, and you get 3, what do you mean? You get 3 out of 5. Go on, if you can't work FF2, if you can't work FF0, go on with your business. You get 3, thank God, and go on. Right? Don't want to spend no 10,000 years to try to get this right. Because I will not see if you get it right. All right, and that is it right there, so. And for the 2 last questions that will take us into lunch, right? Can anybody vouch for me? So let me show you how to do this here. I want somebody vouch me, because yes, people will say that I don't do it, you know. Anybody can look in your book and see anything like GHX. Anybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So can we go up here so now and see what we are doing? Can we clean up here? So up here so look messy though. Oh my God. So GHX, right? So what we are gonna do? We're gonna take G now. Watch now. Watch the purple marker now. We're gonna take G now. This here where we circle. So we teach it in our class, not true. We're gonna take the circle. So then say GHX, right? So GHX. A GHX or HGX? Hold on. It's GHX. Oh, it says GHX. Oh my God. Awesome. GHX, right. So what we're going to do is take the H. Watch me now. Because this is the one on the right, you know. Take the H and send one arrow and go put it right here, so in the G. Just like how we teach it in a class, as so we are doing it on the exam paper. Same way, not different. So we're gonna, the thing when we circle, look on the arrow. We send the arrow, go put it right here, so. So this I'm gonna go put the x squared plus 1. So I'm gonna have 4 open bracket x squared plus 1 minus 5. So 4 open bracket x squared plus 1 minus 5. Simplify that. 4 times x squared, 4x squared. 4x times 1, 4 minus 5. So we have 4x squared minus 1. And that's it. 4x squared minus 1. If you want to go further, you know, you can show them, see a boss, you know, and tell them, say, all right then, you can show them, see a boss. This is the difference of 2 squares. But me do the hard work already. I don't need to prove nothing to nobody. Right? If they want to give me 1 mark for this, cool. But if you want to measure, if you want to make certain so them not be your marks, you can go ahead and say 2 squared x squared minus 1 squared, and then you can say, all right then, 2x minus 1 and 2x. You don't need to do all of that. Some teachers are like that, you know. You know, you can do extra if you want to do that. You don't need to do that. All right. So you can write it as 2x minus 1 all squared. Okay. I'm not sure if it's a requirement, but them say write an expression in its simplest form. So I guess that you have to do this part, guys. This part right here, so you have to do it. I think they're gonna give you 1 mark if you leave it. If you leave it right here, so they're gonna only give you 1 mark. You have to write it back in a difference of two squares form. And not everybody realize that. Oh well. All right, last question before we get to lunch, because we've been here for 3 hours. Believe it or not, it has been 3 hours. G inverse. Anybody can vouch that they've seen this on paper in class? G minus 1?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
All right, so let us write down what the G now. What is the G of x now? The G of x we were told earlier was 4x plus what? 4x plus 1 or 4x minus 1? What was it? What was it? Misappeared. 4x minus 5. Oh my lord. 4x minus 5. So if you, right now, here's some recommend the shortcut. Right here, some recommend the shortcut. How much marks is it worth, by the way? 2? Shortcut may I use? Shortcut may I use? A joke, I'm not using the shortcut. I'm not going to do that. All right, so if it's the shortcut you're using, right? Question, what was the 4 doing to the x? What was the 4 doing to the x? What is the 4 and x doing to each other?
Multiply.
So I'm going to divide. What is the 5 doing to the x?
Subtract.
So it's addition. That's the answer. But you're not getting the marks of that. So you have to go through the process of saying y is equal to 4x minus 5. Then you're going to interchange x with y. X equals 4y minus 5. And then try to get y by itself now. Bring over the 5. Yeah, try to get y by itself, So bring over the 5. You're going to get x plus 5 equals 4y. And then you just divide both sides by 4. X plus 5 divided by 4 is equal to 4y divided by 4. Cancel. So it's x plus 5 over 4 is equal to y. Therefore, it's the moment you find y, you found inverse. So G inverse x equals x plus 5 over 4. Now, they say they must put minus 2 in it. So you have to put minus 2 right here. So G inverse minus 2 is equal to minus 2 plus 5 over 4. So my answer is 3 over 4. All right? And that is it. Lovely. And that takes us to the end of question 4. And that also takes us into our lunch period.
Sir, can you pull that back?
Yeah, man. That takes us into our lunch period. All right? So when we return at 1 o'clock, we will commence and we will begin statistics. That's a topic that has not yet been taught, but it's very doable. Anybody can do it. Right? So that's statistics. And then we're going to wrap up the paper. It's 10 questions, but I don't think we're doing vectors today. I will not do matrices because nobody here has been taught that as yet. So we only have 4 more questions to do in our next session. All right. And we should be moving a little bit faster. All right. But that is it. All right. So,
Sir, how soon will we access the recordings?
oh, same time today. But it's going to
Same
be
time?
Yeah, man. As soon as when I close this meeting, it's gonna be saved. I'm gonna download it, and then I'm gonna upload it. But it's gonna be uploaded as a private link. So you guys have to send me a message to request the link. Because if I make it public, then all of the classes that you pay for, people will get it for free, and that can't work.
No, sir.
All right. All right. So I'm gonna upload it same time, right? I'm probably gonna upload it before lunchtime. Before lunchtime is up, and then when I upload it, then I will you can just send me a message requesting the recording. All right, so that is it, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back at 1:05. And until then, see you soon.